Hi Gemini, welcome to your mid-September 2017 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. So as I shuffle the cards, I want to let you know that if you're interested in a private reading, please click on the link below and it'll take you to my website. I have different types of readings. This is going to be a general focus, so it can cover any area of your life. I also want to direct those of you who are single and looking for a love reading kind of geared towards you specifically to check out my Vimeo page. I'll post a link for that below as well. And that is called Ready for Love, and it's kind of like a combination instructional and what would you call it? You know, the typical predictive element in it as well. Tarot and oracle card reading. And so yeah, I'm gonna just put these like this. Okay, I always pick another card whenever I pick a card like the Nine of Swords or the Ten of Swords. Just because it's not kind of a card of resolution, that's all. Not because I'm trying to make the reading to fit some narrative of mine. The overall theme or the focal point, what was it, the heart of the matter, I think is the best way of putting it, is the King of Cups. The court cards supposedly are specific people in your life, but I feel like this also applies to you, that this could be an element of you. If this is another person, this is going to be an authority figure who is very sensitive and caring, a male authority figure. So a father comes to mind because kings can be fathers. Could be the father of your child, could be someone who is Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and they are very mature in their emotional development. They are not very manipulative or anything like that, where they use emotions against other people. They tend to be very caring, considerate, and yet retain that maturity that comes with age specifically, or just having the right temperament, okay? And this could be your boss. You could have a caring boss that you can go to, you know, understanding boss. This could be a counselor that you're seeing, or a religious figure. I think it can be connected to your job, because in the past position we have the Four of Pentacles, which is about financial mastery, somebody who is really good at dealing with their money. And I'm wondering if this is the same person. I don't know if this is you at all. You could be holding on to your money for some reason. And it's funny that I get two kings here, because I get the King of Wands. So I'm wondering, yeah, I think that some people are involved with somebody. You know what word came into my mind, which is a terrible word, is cuckold. The King of Cups being this cuckold. Because we have here the, or you could say cuck for short, we have the King of Wands. This is a fire sign or fiery temperament type of individual, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And this person is going to be more sexual than the King of Cups. The King of Cups, because it's a water sign or watery energy, is the person who understands their partner. The King of Wands is the person, they may not care about their partner. I don't mean in a bad way, but they tend to be more self-centered. And yet for a Gemini individual, this person is going to be more exciting to you and more compatible personality-wise than the King of Cups. So in relationships, this kind of a person, the King of Wands, is somebody who lights your fire, you know, pardon the pun. But the King of Cups may be the understanding person. And if this is the father of your child, they may be a very reliable, financially reliable person. It's possible that you got with this person because of that quality that they have. Water sign people tend to be very good with money and very savings oriented. And you may have gotten with them for some financial security, but this other person is turning you on. You know, I know that sounds really like sleazy and cheesy, but I can't help it. I do see this, I thought this was going to be a situation that deals with your work, but it seems more for people who are in a relationship. Although I will say that if this is a work situation, you may decide to go on your own. You may be tempted to stay where you are because you may be in a place where the boss is understanding and you're making good money, but you have your own ideas. You may be on fire with ideas. And then in this case, what is crossing you is that you don't know how to extricate yourself from that and how to leave gracefully or even sneaking away, because you feel like you're going to get caught, or there's some reason why you would like to be able to do your own thing, but you feel like you can't break away. You can't figure out a way to do it so that you don't burn bridges, okay? But that would be a work situation. I think that if you are cheating on a partner, and I've been having these scenarios for some of these other signs, so I don't know if this is rampant, but even that, you may be finding it hard to leave that situation. The Seven of Swords, you know what it can be? I'm reading it in the reverse position. It probably should be read upright, okay? The deceitful quality of it may be bothering you. Because the King of Cups could be a good man. And you could feel like, why am I doing this? This is a good person. And still you feel like you can't help yourself. That the pull is too great. But you don't know how to get out of it with this current partner, because you might have a child together. You may feel like you don't have a good case to make about leaving, because the person it's not doing anything wrong. And so that might be causing guilt or just confusion on your part. The advice is temperance, and this is a card. You see that one foot is in the water and one foot is on land. It's about balancing the spiritual dimension and the physical dimension. This card, by the way, is connected to Sagittarius. So if that King of Wands is a Sagittarian, that might be talking about that as well. But temperance is all about understanding the bigger picture. I think, well, this is my feeling. Understanding the bigger picture, which is transcending the physical and understanding that there's not just this, you know, that life isn't just about dollars and cents, because that's what the Four of Pentacles is, a very practical card. And sometimes we get involved in these messes because of that overly practical nature. Now, usually Gemini people aren't necessarily the most practical people on the planet. But, you know, there's a good chance that some of you have a lot of Taurus or Cancer, because these are the signs that are flanking you. And so you could have personal planets in either one of those signs. And, you know, especially with a moon sign, that can be almost like that reptilian part of you that is concerned about survival. So if you're a Gemini and you have a moon in Cancer, for instance, you may feel that you're often acting, or maybe you have Mars in Cancer, you're acting in ways that deal with self-preservation, even when you don't need to be, like being overly cautious or something like that. So it's about saying, yes, of course, you know, we have certain things that we have to deal with. We have to deal with our bodies. We have to deal with that part of us. But we don't have to overemphasize it either. And we have to look at how our actions impact other people. You know, if we're doing something underhanded like cheating, some people may say, well, I'm trying to protect that person because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But is it really not affecting that person? If you're pulling away because you are romantically involved with somebody else, chances are, especially if that person's a water sign, they're going to feel it intuitively, that you're not really present, that something is off. And also, they deserve to be with somebody who's going to be faithful to them. But don't beat yourself up, because you may have, you may try to just survive. And that was why you were attracted to this person, because they seem very steady, very responsible. You know, these things happen, and that's fine. I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, well, that's totally not what's happening in my life. Hopefully you can find some connection with your life in some of these cards as I've described them. And even with work situations, it's all about keeping things in balance, because with the Temperance card, maybe you have this idea that you're just excited to implement, and you have a business that you'd like to start. If you have a good situation going with your current employer, you may want to stay at your current place of employment. If it's not a toxic environment, just stay there and start your business on the side, so that you don't put pressure on yourself to have to support yourself from day one. You know, that's kind of what temperance is like. Tempering some of that passion, which may be like really bubbling up within you, in order to have the best possible outcome. Speaking of outcomes, this is a card, the Nine of Swords, about anxiety. So you can see why I didn't want to end on this note. I believe that a lot of Gemini people have kind of this on a regular basis, because not only are you swords, so you connect with this, but this, you know, I think a lot of Gemini people tend to be a bit high-strung. And this is about, this isn't really a good depiction of what the Rider-Waite deck, to me this is almost like the Eight of Swords. But the Rider-Waite deck shows a woman who's sitting up in bed at night, and she's kind of, you know, let me see if I can find that card in my Rider-Waite deck. But she's like beside herself with anxiety. Swords relate to thoughts. So it's all about examining your anxieties, your fears, questioning them, and not being consumed by them. And this is difficult when you may have a lot. Okay, here it is. I think this is much more of an illustration of what's happening. You know, it's showing that anguish. Now, this is not to say that you're going to feel anguished about something. This is, I think this is kind of like one of those cautionary tales that if you do not embrace a more temperament, you know, you see all these words are kind of similar, like temper. This is about moods. And I feel like some of you guys tend towards bipolar. I don't mean, you know, in a diagnostic sense of the literal bipolar, but you might be very changeable in your moods. Like your moods, you may have mood swings. And so because this card is such a wonderful card for empowerment and enthusiasm about a creative project and a feeling like you can do it, not just this feeling of being creative, but just feeling like you can do it, this card you can almost look at as the exact opposite. And I'd rather put this one here just to kind of illustrate it. So what's happening? Well, sometimes people have these very deep-seated fears about, will this thing work out? And I think that this is another reason why it's better for many people if they can swing it to, if they want to go on their own and you want that independence and you're just like chomping at the bit, but you're in a position where you're not like being pressured at work, you don't have a boss who's a jerk. You might want to just do things on the side. Start your business on the side so that you don't put all of your eggs into one basket and then you're just putting undue pressure on yourself to succeed right off the bat when you're, you know, that is like kind of the most crucial period, is that beginning period. Because if you're launching something and you can't sustain it, it doesn't work right away, and you don't have anything to fall back on, you're going to have a lot more of those nights than you are right now. So it probably is best to kind of keep an even keel. That's what I would say about this Temperance card. Now, if this is about a personal situation like I described above, you know, some kind of a extramarital thing, and you're feeling this sense of anguish, first of all, forgive yourself if you feel like you're going to hurt somebody that you think is a good person. Understand that you're not hurting anyone if you're being honest. If you're being honest and you're being compassionate, you're not hurting anybody. You're just being open and true about how you feel. And so I picked a card to go along with it, and I got the Knight of Cups, which is, it's funny, I was going to talk about the Knight of Cups. This is like an offer of love. Now, it's funny because this is another cup. So is this going to be another person who's a water sign? No, I think this is about that this could be somebody that you have met, and it's really, this is your knight in shining armor. This other person, you may have thought that was your knight in shining armor, this person, but there may have been extenuating circumstances. A big one would be if this is the father of your child and you thought the right thing to do would be to marry them, move in with them, whatever that is, whatever that sense of commitment is for you. And you realized maybe right away that you had made a big mistake and that this person, while this person may be a kind-hearted person, it wasn't the right person for you. And so the Knight of Cups is about that feeling of romance, that feeling of really being with the person that you feel, you know, that sense of love, and them offering it to you. And Whether you decide to accept it or not is a different story. Now, this person is going to be very creative and possibly like an artist even. But they definitely are romantic. And it could be a Leo, because I know Leos are very romantic if they are fire signs. So anyway, Gemini, I really hope that some of this resonated with most of you, because it was kind of going out there. So I wish you all the best for the rest of September. Take care. Bye.